much. Family, we are having a wonderful night. And while we are happy, at least one man is unhappy, and the man is Barabbas. But I want tonight, as we take a pause after tonight, in observance of the significance and the prayerfulness of the Lenten season, to say thank you to this wonderful country of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I say thank you to all the people on the island of Nevis and all the people on the island of St. Kitts for making your mind up on the 15th of February 2015 that Team Unity's way was the best way for the development and growth of our beloved country. To God be the glory that He gave us the power of discernment, and throughout the length and breadth of our Twin Island Federation, a majority of the constituencies returned the Team Unity government. And in spite of the effort of the Douglas regime and Ringgrove George to put a pause on the democratic process and practices, you, the people, took to the streets of Bastia on the 9th of the 15th, took charge of the city and signaled that the time for the dictator had come to an end and a new day was born for St. Kitts and Nevis. I say thanks to all of you. And as we reflect and as we celebrate how much we have accomplished over the last 2 years, we must, as Senator Phipps said to us, give God the glory, and we must appreciate what Natasha sang. God made a way, and you, the people, made the way. So I say thanks to all of you. What a wonderful second anniversary it has been. So powerful and so good. Douglas want to follow suit. So all of a sudden Douglas say he going to keep Townhall too. And when he recognized that his Townhall no sweet, he say he gonna move from Townhall, he going to march. I wonder if you think that Labor Day or Easter Monday. Labor Day are all the way in May. So this is not no marching time. This is the season of Lent, of prayer and fasting, not strife and conflict. And that is what the people change on February 15th. So I say 16th, thank you very much. Well, sometime I say the 15th, because I'll tell you how we do it in number 7. For election day, there is no sleeping the night before. There is no sleeping the night before. We are ready, like ready to be in the lines. And we don't leave our polling booths till all the votes are counted. That is how we do it. I want though to say thanks, because without you, the people, your energy, you being in a celebratory mood, that wonderful week that we had would not have been so memorable. And you came out because you appreciate when all is said and done, this government has done more than any government has done in a similar time frame. And you came out to show your appreciation. for the houses, for the health program, for the assistance to the farmers, to the improvement in the quality of life, for the 52 million we gave to the government of Nevis, for the fair share in relation to the SIDF. You recognize that your government has been at work for you. And you recognize that when all is said and done, it's 5 years. 5 years you gave us in the first instance. And then in June 2020, we shall come again for 5 more, and 5 more, and 5 more. And once we perform, the way we are performing, the course is clear. And so we have to stay focused. We have to continue to work. We have to continue to encourage our supporters to stay the course and spread the good news. All the good things that Hamilton has talked about, the support to the farmers. You have to tell them that that support is there, for some of them may not know. And so you have to spread the news of what we have been doing. You have to talk about what we have been doing in public works. You have to talk about the roads that are being paved in Parsons, by Bratcher and all those places, that the era of neglect by the former administration for the people of number 6 is now ended, and they are into the future of fairness under a Team Unity administration. As I thank you, I want to say a special thank you to the Team Unity team. Because without the team, I couldn't do it alone on your behalf. We are a team, and the team is as strong as the weakest link. And part of our job is to ensure every link in the train is a strong one. That is why we have to be careful that sometimes they come and they try to, as it were, pull off one aside, say false thing in one ear, so that you leave the others vulnerable. But an attack on one member of Team Unity is an attack on the entire government, and we have to keep the team strong. So I say thank you to the members of the team at the head table. Let's give a round of applause to the Honorable Eugene Hamilton. Let's give an applause to the Honorable Ian Patrice Liebert. Let's give an applause to our Attorney General, Vincent Byron. Let's give an applause for our Senator, the Honorable Wendy Phipps. Let's give an applause for the Honorable Lindsey Grant. Let's give an applause for the Honorable Sean Richards. Let's give an applause for the Honorable Mark Brantley. Let's give an applause for the Honorable Van Samry. Let's give an applause for the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, our new Deputy Speaker and Senator. Let's give an applause for Ambassador Jonel Powell. Let's give an applause for Mr. Vernon Connor, Advisor in Education. They constitute in the main the cabinet of St. Kitts and Nevis and the government side in Parliament, and the 2 candidates who had entered on the Unity platform. To that list, we want to add Ambassador Sam Kanda. Equally, we want, and I want to recognize that this government has been able to perform because we have had good support and advice from many people, including you, the ordinary people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So I say thank you. I say thank you to artists out of Sandy Point. Give him a round of applause. I say thank you to a good friend in Willett, the #1 photographer in St. Kitts and Nevis. I say thank you to our cabinet secretary, Miss Josephine Huggins. I say thank you to all of our permanent secretaries, including Mr. Asbert D'Souza, who is here tonight. And to all the people of #7. The wind beneath my wings. I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you. I want to recognize too, because sometimes we take the excellence of persons' work and contribution that has become somewhat routine to produce excellence for granted. And in that regard, I want to thank my good friend, Ambassador in my office, the Honorable His Excellency, my brother Michael Oliver Powell, the famous man on the People's Program and Sugar City Radio. I want equally to thank Ambassador Sidney Osborne, who has organized and coordinated this week for his excellent work. And I want to give a hearty thank you to my press secretary, Miss Valencia Grant, who has been excelling in the excellence of her work. And she certainly is a model of what a press secretary should be doing. And I need not say any more on that one. But we take for granted at times that our national radio and television, has been doing an excellent job in bringing these programs to the rest of the country. Let's give a round of applause. And I say thank you. I say thank you for what we have been able to accomplish in your name. It is your work that we are doing. And we have not done all that we promised to do. But we have 40 years in which to do some of them. Because the lady is right in saying that Team Unity deserves 40 years in government at the pace at which we have been delivering. Because one good term deserves another. And so far, so good. Something good is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. You know something good is happening when you look at Barstow Roadstead and you see cruise ship after cruise ship. Something good is happening in our country. Something good is happening in the country when you visit the elderly, the sick, and our senior citizens at the Grange Health Facility. And thanks to Patrice Liebert, the road is now paved and facilitating the travel to and for that particular institution. Something good is happening when Joan Mitchum could walk on a nice road going to Lodge Village. We say to God be the glory, good things are happening. Something good is happening when small island like St. Kitts could boast for the first time in a lifetime, that right here we are delivering cancer treatment, chemotherapy to those in need of it. Give your government a round of applause for delivering, and the oncology center. Something good is happening when right here in our country, 4 400 plus persons between May and December were able to benefit from MRI services right here in St. Kitts, right here at Warriors. Never happened before. We have saved them the cost of travel, the inconvenience of travel, and all the associated expenses. And would you believe that even people coming off the cruise ship to go for MRI services right here in St. Kitts, guests at the Marriott have left there to go to MRI services right here in Lower Borio in St. Kitts. Something good is happening in relation to the delivery of health care for our people in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is a good thing that is happening, and none can deny that. You see, health care is costly, and that is why the prevention is better than the cure. So if you could prevent it through proper eating, through proper exercise, through restraint with alcohol, and taking good care of your life, it is better than having to pay the price of curing for the ailment. And that is why we spend fantastic sum bringing in the specialists, recruiting people to come help us, because as a small country of limited resources, we will never have all the specialities that we need homegrown. But equally important for me is the fact that by next year, we will have introduced a national insurance health scheme so that everyone, regardless of age, class, color, creed, or gender, will be able to go to a doctor, pull out the insurance card, and that will be enough to take care of their treatment and care. We are a visionary government. We are a people's government. We are working for you. And we are happy doing that work on your behalf. The former government was full of doctors. Maybe too many doctors for their own good. Dr. Douglas was a doctor, but he left Mary Charles Hospital with a leaking roof, with the doors unhinged, unready and unprepared for service. When we came to office, over $1 million had to be expended to make Mary Charles brand new again for the people. Give your government a round of applause. But you see, in the last 20 years that there was a Douglas regime, Douglas didn't care about the people enough to make things right. Because as a doctor, he certainly was taught more about health and wellness than many of us, the ordinary folks. But you didn't see it apply. Douglas suddenly became a very wealthy man. In fact, he's one of the most wealthy persons around the world. He became a very wealthy man while being Prime Minister of the country. He has land everywhere and nobody got him. Because old people say, when you see people have things, don't grudge them, because you don't know when the day of accounting will come for those things. So we don't grudge him. So he had all that money. And so when he took ill, you all seem to forget, you know, that early in the life of the government, regrettably, the Prime Minister took ill. He couldn't walk. They had to put him, as it were, on a bed and take him away. off to New York at considerable expense. He had a jet that took him there. The cost of that bill, according to him, was over $330,000. $330,000. Can you pay that money? No. You therefore need a caring government like the Team Unity government. To bring health services to you, the people of the country. And I said, if the specialists coming from Cuba, let them come to help. If they're coming from the Philippines, let them come to help our people. Because you don't got the money that Douglas got. $330,000. You, and that ain't all. You can't find that. Your family wouldn't be able to raise that. And that is why we are saying we want efficiency and we want effectiveness in the delivery of health care in our country. And we want more things to be done in St. Kitts and Nevis. When Nigel Carty was ill, when he was up at the hospital, talking all kind of foolishness coming through his mind and saying them, and people say all kind of things, but all we know, whatever Nigel has said, you couldn't believe. And Nigel went abroad. It cost the public purse $135,000. $135,000. That is what they cost you. And imagine, while the government was looking after a chosen few in its cabinet, they let our healthcare services go to the ground. Imagine, while the people in Sadler's and St. Paul's and Parsons picking up collections to take care of their health, to get to travel abroad, Douglas authorizes and allow $135,000 to go to help a minister. That minister's salary was big enough to go to a bank. Love so, no have so. You the poor ordinary person from Parsons and Sadler's, you had no godfather in Douglas. Nigel Carty had a godfather that ensured $135,000 approximately was made available to the health facility in Miami. You can't even get assistance from Douglas to go to Antigua to get an MRI. But a minister in his cabinet was preferred to the tune of $135,000. And it wasn't the first time that he preferred Nigel. Because when we started the program of housing, first-time homeowners, we said we will set it for the small people and establish a threshold relative to salary of about $200,000, $225,000 thereabouts. When Nigel Carty heard that some people were getting their houses built, Nigel came to the cabinet and he said it's time for him to get a house. Now his salary bigger than all the other civil servants, but it's time for him to get a house. His house was to cost over $400,000, and to bring him in, Douglas revised the policy and made it high enough that Nigel Carty could have had a duty-free home built at your expense. Built at your expense. Because you had to forfeit the taxes, the duties to allow him to build. And as if that wasn't bad enough, C.J. Walwyn came out of space. And when C.J. Walwyn landed in the country, a man with roots in West Barstow and in Central and East Barstow, suddenly Douglas determined that he will give C.J. Walwyn the highest package ever paid to a commissioner of police in living memory. And one aspect of C.J.'s package was that C.J. got a housing allowance that was greater than the pay of the former commissioner of police before C.J. Walwyn. I wonder if you understand that. Douglas determined that what he was paying the commissioner wasn't enough to pay for a house for C.J. Walwyn, and showed up. Well, none of the commissioners before C.J. got housing allowance. None of them. Not Austin Williams, not Foy, not Stafford, none of them. But C.J. comes, as it were, out of space, a man from nowhere. And C.J. was given more money for housing than the salary of the former police commissioner. But who you think benefit from that? Nigel Carty, the very house built duty-free at the expense of the taxpayers, at the expense of revenue that would flow naturally in the coffers of the government. He ended up winning again against you because there were no bidding for the residence of the commissioner. And Nigel House, built duty-free in Boardwalk, had to now be paid for from the rental. And an official recruited by the cabinet of the country and distinctly preferred terms was able to pay Nigel for the rental. And they say no that he wrong. They say no that it doesn't look good. They say no, that this was not in keeping with good governance. Like Adam in the garden, they start to hide. Adam hid and hid behind Eve. Is it right? Who told him to eat the forbidden fruit? Who? 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 She's sorry for Eve. But we could understand because she's a woman too. So she's sorry for Eve. But a long, long time that happened with Adam and Eve. So Eve told Adam to eat the forbidden fruit. Who it is? Out of constituency 6, Nigel Carty hid behind, put down their name to sign the contract. Claudia, his sister. Claudia, Nigel in the garden, hiding, hiding. Understand? Hiding, hiding behind his sister. That reminded me. And if you read the scripture with Adam and Eve, they talk about the serpent. They talk about the devilish nature that led to, as it were, the spoiling and the corruption of things that God ordained. Be a man. All the mouth they got, be a man. You think it's right? Be a man. Sign your name. Don't put Claudia in front. Claudia, hiding like Adam in the garden, hiding. And during the course of Sidi Walwyn reign, it cost the country over $450,000 on that home, principally rental and other refinements. You see how them they live? They were living all for themselves and not for you. And that is why up to today, they have to say after Douglas. Up to now, they on the radio like three blind mice. See how they run? They all run up somewhere, they cut off the tail with a knife. Three blind mice. Three blind mice, a Jew, a Carty, and Marcella Libod. Rah, rah, rah. Three blind mice. That is what is happening. Because all of them dirty their hands. Dirty their hands. And like Adam, they are now unworthy to show themselves in the daylight. So that is what it is. That is part of the change that you have ushered in to ensure that public resources are not used for the principal benefit of those you elect and put in government, but public resources are being preserved for the development of the people and the development of the country. And that is why when some people who say they are Team Unity come to us and they want big money to do work in a small country, somebody have to hold on the oar. Somebody has to hold on the oar and not allow them to play bingo with the public purse. So when they want a consultancy and they can't take little bit and live long, and they want to cost us about $500,000 in 1 year, how many homes that could build for poor people in Sadlers, in Parsons, in Kayard, in St. Peter's, in Tabernacle? How many people could have received the assistance with their roof? How many people could have had the pit latrine eradicated from their yard? And we had to say, no, we can't allow that. And because of this, some people get vexed. Well, they could vex. They could vex. Because we are doing what is right on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we will continue on that part. Quickly, I want to say to you that Team Unity was about real change and transformation. Team Unity was about country beyond party. And so sometimes when some people come to you talking about this senator is a PLP senator and this senator is a PAM senator and this person, we ain't got none of that. It is a team, diverse team, but they are the unity candidates, the unity team. You pledge that is not about party. It was elevating the country, the national interests above the partisan interests. That is what we took to the people. When I went to Franklands, an old road, and Verchilds to campaign, I was campaigning for Lindsay as a member of the team, unity team. When I went in West Pasteur, I was campaigning for Kanda as a member of the team, unity framework. When I went into Neverson Street and John Street and George Street, and I went Birdwalk, and I went over on the peninsula, I was campaigning for Patrice as a member of the team, unity. When I went up New Road. When I went to McKnight, I was campaigning for John L. Powell as a member of the Team Unity platform. When I went in St. Peter's, when I went into Paris, when I get rain out of Stapleton, I was campaigning for Hamilton as a member of the Team Unity. When I campaigned in number 7, I brought over Mossa because Mossa was a PAM who understood that the time for unity had come. Mossa is here tonight. Tudor is here tonight. Gata is here tonight. Paulette is here tonight. Sonia is here. Joan is here. John Lewis, you're there. Annie is here. Sarah, you're here. And all the rest of you here. But what it is, we went about campaigning. We campaigned on love for country, a fair share for all, that we will treat our citizens equal. We didn't promise you that we were campaigning for the PAM, that we were campaigning for the PLP. We were campaigning for the CCM. We were campaigning for the vast majority of people to have a better life. And with that must come new standards and new approaches. That was the winning message. That was the winning message. Rosa is here from Taylor's. Rosa was a hard worker in Hidden Alley Lodge. Patrice benefited from that support because for her it was a team. It was a team approach. And she was prepared to bring that new light to our country so all of us could have a oneness. And how sweet and pleasant it is to be part of a diversified team. Had it not been for the team, had it not been for the team, we will not have been in government. So those who don't understand the dynamics of the politics, let them understand it. There is only one path to victory. One path against the team of Douglas. And it has to be a unified team. One path to victory. That is the path chosen by Wire, chosen by Hardest, chosen by Nasser, in poll after poll in the country before the election. When I spoke with Winifred, and Winifred, you're still here. Winifred came back from England. Winifred lives at Christchurch, and he told me he has never been part of the party politics in St. Kitts. But in England, where he lived for those many years, that he was Labour. And I had to go and explain to him the dynamics, what we intend to do that will be different, why it was worth making a change for better St. Kitts and Nevis. How he could make St. Kitts and Nevis a better place for the young people in Christchurch, in Phillips, in Tabernacle, in Old Road, in St. Paul's, in Dieppe, in George Street, by giving unity a chance. John James was the biggest Labour at the port. John James put away all of that to come on board Team Unity, culture, and Mr. Politics, and all the other ordinary folks long before us held a dream of Team Unity. I said to you, as we celebrate our 2nd anniversary, I keep remembering where we come from. I keep remembering there were those who say it could not happen, but thanks to you, it did happen. We managed against the odds to bring PAM and Labour and CCM and those who were not associated with any party together. I canvassed a man on the peninsula. He told me where he came from. He saw dictatorship at its worst. He was never minded to become involved in St. Kitts politics. He got fun from watching Hard Talk. That's the British politics in large measure. But when he saw what Douglas did to the Parliament on the 16th of January, he was happy that I come. Because he saw in me someone who was devoted, someone who was prepared to make a sacrifice and to take a stand on behalf of the country. And I am reminded that I was only able to take that stand because the people of Number 7 had never let me down. Never let me down. 6 elections, 6 national battles, 93, 95, 2000, 2004, 2010, 2015, 2020 the 7th time. And I recall the many meetings we had as we did battle with Douglas. And I'm going to end in 3 minutes, somebody time me. When we were at 4th Street, Juicy's brother said to us, this election will be won if you all do one thing. What was the one thing? Just walk up the road together as a team. That is all the country was waiting for. And as simple as it was still difficult. Because people were going out of their comfort zone, of the parties which they had loved and defended and cursed for. And it still was a little bit challenging. Who will take the first move? Thank God the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, before leaders did, took the first move. 70% of the people polled said for them. Said for them. The answer was team unity. Why you think seats that were never won in the last 20 years finally made it over the curve? Some people don't understand the dynamics. They better understand the arithmetic. It was the upsurge that team unity brought that lifted every party that was under its ambit, that brought over the people. Brought them over. So 4 that had been came on board in government. 1 that had escaped victory came on board in government. 8 was at its best in the last election because of team unity. That is reality. No other decimal was at work. Jam down, understand the politics better than a lot of people. I heard Jamdon said at one town hall, we have built unity. We're not going to allow anybody to mash it up. It took a lot of work to build this team unity. It took what Juicy Byron used to tell me. And, well, he was a lawyer, so you listen to your lawyer. But from times, because a lot of the story ain't tell yet, you know. A lot of the story of how we came together, of the ins and outs, the battle to move beyond party to a cohesive team. All that story not yet being told. But it has a good ending. Because in the end, the will of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis prevailed. But hear what lawyer Juicy Byron said to me. He said, Tim, you are the leader. There is clearly no denial. Poll after poll, 4 polls in succession have acclaimed you as the preferred leader. By far! By far! Therefore, he, my former teacher of history, he even forget he taught me history, but me remember, in 6th form, with Indian history and for a little while European history. So he's steep in a historical analysis of the body politic in St. Kitts and Nevis. He said, and I remember, if I make a mistake as a good teacher, you must correct me. He said, you must have courage. And anybody who is going to fight Douglas have to have courage. For the man is a wicked man. The man knows no moral minimum. And so the first attribute I knew I have to have was courage to battle with Douglas word for word, policy for policy, idea for idea, and at every level I beat him. He said to me, as the leader, you have to have stamina. Remember you said so? Yes, you said so. You had to have stamina. Stamina means that you're conscious. There will be good times and bad times. There will be dreams and there will be nightmares. There will be time of faith and hope in your team. There will be periods of disappointment and despair in your team. And yet, as a leader, you have to rise to the occasion, because beyond the team are the people ready to make the promised land. Stamina. Stamina. Despite every attack day after day, every propaganda night after night, it couldn't work. Because I had stamina, and Sonia and others were the prayer warriors. The third element, Mr. Byron told me that I needed as the new national leader was a sense of justice. You remember you told me that? A sense of justice. And that is why, time after time on the platform, I said I will fight for you. And injustice against the worker will not stand in the team unity government. That is why in the budget we say we will put more people to go on the work sites, see what they're doing. We will ensure that they are paying their social security, that they are not taking on foreign workers, not paying social security, and denying locals the opportunity for fair work and fair earnings. A sense of justice that said to me that Douglas' effort to, as it were, gerrymander the boundaries, those efforts were wrong, and we had to fight against it. A sense of justice that when the court said we will fight on Douglas' boundaries, to say no way, all the way to the Privy Council, we will go in search of justice. So for all of you who have been with us all that way, thank you for your courage too. Thank you for your stamina. And thank you for your sense of justice. Thank you again for having chosen Team Unity. We work too hard to build it. Do not let anybody destroy Team Unity.